Hello everyone, this is Ishan Javed Shah and welcome to Zinteractive, and we are now going through the part B of applying textures. Okay, so this is the part B of applying textures to the objects, and here you can see in front of you is a NURB plane. Now applying a texture on a NURB plane is quite easier because it's already mapped. Okay, so it's already UV mapped, so there is no issue in applying that. It's perfect. Okay, whatever size it's given, automatically it grabs the UV on it. Simply what we need to do is that we have to go to its Lambert material, because whenever you create a NURB object or a polygonal object, always by default it have Lambert 1. Okay, so if you don't want to create any other thing, then you can change this Lambert 1. Otherwise, what will happen if you will apply a secondary object, so it will also have a Lambert 1 on it, and then what will happen is that you will get like both of them will change. So I'll always try to apply a different Lambert material, but right now I'm just working on the single object, so I don't want any other object. So that's why I will use the Lambert 1 to go through this lesson. Okay, so what I need to do is that simply I have to go to color to apply a file, and then I can go to image. Okay, and let me search. Okay, I'll put this one here. I will open this one. Okay, turn on my object here, and you can see how clearly, easily it have applied on it. Okay, and the UV is amazing. It's like it's already there, the map was already there, so it's quite easy. So if I will select here, you can see that I will be in the Lambert, and here is my color. We went through this whole process of nodes in the last tutorial, so I will just click here. I will go inside the node of the file. Now next to that I have the place 2D texture, which we went through in the last class as well. So all you know about these, the whole everything, we have checked what is the rotation, how we can rotate it, and those kind of different things. Other than that, we have here the interactive placement. Now what is the interactive placement? You can use this on a polygonal object, also a NURBS object also. Okay, wherever you have this place 2D texture, you can work there. So I will click on the placement, and you will notice that how your UV is highlighted. Okay, it is showing that this is the horizontal part is the V and the vertical part is the U. How it works? You can see these points. Okay, now these points, if I will click on it, I cannot work by clicking on these points. Okay, so how simple it will work? Okay, let me go back to my here. Okay, this works with the middle mouse button. So if I will click on the middle mouse and then I will try to move them left or right, you can see that how easily it is changing. Is it clear? Okay, and then I can also rotate it. So this is how the interactive placement works very easily. Okay, and you can use that. Okay, and it's quite handy when you're working with this. So it gives you kind of a good fast a quicker way of applying any kind of texture. Okay, so once you are done, you just can go to outside by clicking the moving tool. Okay, or right click or go into object mode, and then simply this is how you can work with the NURB surfaces and apply textures on it. Okay, now one great way of applying a texture in Maya is 3D painting over the object. It's quite interesting. So you can literally paint over your objects. Now let's see how it works. In front of me I have this face here. Okay, so basically there are two objects, the eyes and the face. So let me do one thing. Let me hide the eyes. Okay, and work on the face for a while. What simply you need to do is that you have to select the face and then we have to go to tabs, because the tab that we are looking for right now, it's not here because we are in the modeling mode. So we can go in the effects, okay, or I think it's not, it should be in rendering. Okay, so I will go in the rendering mode, not effects, sorry. And then we will see here we have now a texturing tab here, the menu. So I will click here, and under the texturing you can see that we have 3D paint tool. Now if I will click on the 3D paint tool, it will give me this option here. Okay, and when I move around my face, you can see that just like the live option, it is sticked to my like my this polygonal model, this face. Okay, so this is how I will paint. So I have to double click here, and when I double click here, it will give me tools settings basically. So these tool settings are basically the whole thing. So you can choose the size of your brush. Okay, you can press B on your keyboard. Okay, and you can decrease or increase by pressing the B, just like what we did in the soft selection, same thing. Or from here. Okay, then you have different kind of brushes. You have a Gaussian brush, which is like a blurry from outside soft brush. Then you have something like a the soft brush here. Then you have a solid brush here. You have square brush. Then you can use any maps, like any image file, as a brush. You have colors option, okay, and you have other things also. But at this stage you can see that I cannot paint because there is a cross on it. So in order to enable myself to paint, I need to go down in the file texture and click on the assign edit texture. Okay, now as soon you will press it, it will ask you what size of the texture you want. Okay, as bigger size you will keep it, you will have high quality painting. Okay, so right now it's 1024 by 1024. Maybe I will change it to 2024 by 2024. Okay, or 2048, because it calculates with the aspect ratio, that's why. And then I will just press assign edit texture. Or if you don't want this to be a Maya IFF file, you can choose any other thing. Suppose I want the end result to be JPEG file, so I can choose JPEG, and then I can assign edit texture. As soon as I will do that, I will have a brush icon, and that cross is gone now. So I can select any color I want, clicking on the color, and I will try to make something like a skin sort of color. Okay, and then I will paint over here, and you can see it is applying it on my texture here. Okay, now suppose I want to paint the whole skin on it, so that means I have to go all over here and try to paint it. It will take time. So there is an option here for flooding. So what does the flood do is that you have to choose the color you want. Okay, like suppose in this case I want a light skin over here, and press flood paint. As soon as I will press flood paint, that color which I have selected here is now flooded all over the body of my character. Okay, and now I can go here. Maybe I want the cheeks to be a little bit reddish. Okay, I can select that. Okay, and I can paint here, but it's too dark. So what I can do is that I can undo here. I can go in the opacity and reduce the opacity of this color, and then I can paint over here. Okay, if you think it is too solid, so I can use any effect here. Suppose I can take blurry, and I can blur it out. So you can see it is blurring. Okay, it's reaching. And if you think it is too much, I can erase it. I can choose the eraser tool. Okay, if it is 100% opacity, which means 1, so it will erase the whole thing. But I don't want to erase the whole thing, otherwise it will be like this, and I don't want that. So I can choose what? I can choose the opacity of this. So depends on, I will choose the opacity and I can erase it, but it will start showing me the underneath color, okay, not the skin color. So the best way to do is will be that I can take my color from here. I will take the eyedropper tool, okay, and then select the skin color, and it will choose the same skin color. And the same skin color, I don't want it to be 100%, I want it to be something between here. And instead of erasing, I can use the paint and start painting over it, okay. This is too much, so I can undo it, go to very less value. Now you can see that I'm able to paint over here. You can increase it, and you can see this is how it will work. And then I can do more blurry or blurriness, and you know, just you can play with it and you can see how it works. Okay, take some time to get your hand over it, but it's very simple. Okay, so this is very simple. You just need to apply, you just need to practice over here. So I have this red color. Let me apply this red color over here. Okay, and then I can paint at this stage. Let me increase the opacity bit, and you can see here I have this red color. Okay, maybe I can make move it a little bit down. Okay, red lips, I can make it. So I'm doing it very quickly, but you just need a little time to do that. Okay, now if you want to apply any makeup on it, like suppose a blue eyeshadow, so I can increase the size of it and I can apply it, you know, just like that. So once you are ready, if your character is ready and you want to save this texture, so simple, what you need to do is that you have to go to save textures. Okay, once you do that, it will show you down where the textures are saved, or if you will go to the Lambert and you know your color option here, and then in that it will show you where the file is saved. Okay, here in the file, if you will go, this is the file where it is saved. Okay, and this is the name of the file, the JPEG file, and it will give you the whole file thing. And then you know, you can also view how it will look like. If you will press the view button, so it will show you how the texture is. Okay, so you can see that. Oops. So I hope it's like pretty much clear how to use 3D paint tool. So you can spend more time and you can do interesting things. Sometimes you don't want to you know, go in the Photoshop, take your texture file over there and work on it. You can easily paint over here and create whatever texture sort of thing you want. Now in the last lesson, in the part A, I told you that in this section B, in this part B, we will go through applying UVs on complex objects. If you remember, we applied a carton UV on a box, but that one was very simple. What if your object is complex, like this one? Because it is like a box, but it do have a lot of faces, and also it have a lot of details here, like if you can see that. Okay, so what if I want to apply a UV on it as a single object, instead of selecting each part just like what we did in the first part of this part B? Okay, so in the first like the first part of this lesson, we learned how to apply on single faces, but now let's see how to apply on a complete whole complex object. So what we need is that, first of all, we have to go to our object that we have here, and then we will go to our material, which is the blend material here, which is already applied on it. And then here we have a color. Okay, so I have to see what material is applied. So if I will go in the color, I will be now inside the color, and it shows that this is the material, this is the texture which is applied. So if I click view, it will show me this texture is already applied on it. So when I click on the texture option here, you can see clearly what we have. But this is not what we are looking for. If you remember, the box, the carton box, looks like a carton box because we adjusted its UVs. but these UVs are not adjusted. So what we need to do in this case is that we have to adjust these UVs, but it will be a little bit more complex because it's not as simple as box. So what we need to do, let me move this aside and go to UV editor. Okay, and you can see that as this is already selected, you can see the wireframe, the UV of this. That is why it's not showing me the correct formation of this object. Okay, so how to do that? Let's see. First of all, I will select this face from here, the face option. Go here, select all these faces, and with the moving tool, I will move it aside so I have this clear space. Now I have to go back and forth. I will go here and then back to here, and then like this is pretty much how the UVs work. So I will select from this viewport this top part with the shift key. Both are selected. Okay, and press shift and greater than sign. So other parts of this is selected. Now this whole top part is selected. So why we did that? Because we will do the whole thing step by step, faces by faces. Okay, so as you know, whatever we selected is now here. So we have to move that here and adjust it. If I will do that right now, you can see that I'm not able to do it because it is attached to this part. So I have to separate this and then work on it. So I need to convert this whole thing, whatever is selected, from create option here to the planar. If I will select planar, you can see that it is being converted into a plane and it's not attached to it anymore. Okay, sometimes your angle is not right. So let me undo it just to explain you. If you will go to create, then planar option, it asks you what option you want. Best plane, bounding box, I will keep bounding box. Okay, what axis I want y-axis. Otherwise you can choose any one of these axes if it is not rotated right. So for me it was fine, so I will keep the y-axis. Okay, then you can press project and everything will be fine. So this is how you will change it if it is required. So I will press my R key here to get the width. Okay, and I will try to adjust this front, this top part. And as you see, just like what we did in the carton box, the same thing is happening here. Okay, so as I am adjusting it, it is adjusting itself here. So I have to press W and I will move a bit closer. Okay, and then I will go here, R again for the width, and slightly I want just like this, and you will notice it is perfectly over here. Okay, now this is the part which is actually here, and this is the part which is actually here. So that's how I know when I highlight over here. So this is becoming green, this is becoming green. But what if you don't want that? And in this case I don't want it. I want this dark part to be here and this white part to be here. So I can simply click my I will press E for the rotation, and I can rotate it like this. Okay, and then now I think this is what I'm looking for. Okay, clear? Now this part is done. I will select this part now. Press shift, select this, and press shift key and select this one. By mistake I pressed the right click button, so don't worry about that. I press shift key on my keyboard, greater than sign, so the adjacent frames here will be selected. Now you can see here selected. Same thing I will do here. Create planar, and you will notice that the planar is being created here as well, but it's too big, so I don't want that. I will just press my R key for the scale, reduce the size of it. Okay, and then press W to move it around, and where I want it to be here. If you will see, there is a slight light grayish area, and I want this light grayish area, so I will move here basically. Okay, so R, scale here, W to move. Okay, so I think now I'm fine. Okay, so if I go here, you can see that it's clearly what I'm looking for. Now the front part. So I will select this front part. It will be quite easy because it's a plane itself, like here. Okay. Now what I can do here is that I can click on it. I can go to the create. I will go to the planer again. You can see that the planer is created, but if I will try to move it, it's not moving the way I want it, because what happened here is that it made it planar on y-axis, and that's not what I'm looking for. So what I will do is that I will undo it. Okay, go to create, and this time I will not click directly on the planar. I will click on the settings. Instead of y-axis, let's choose the x-axis and C. Then I will press project. Okay, now you can see this is clearly what I'm looking for. Okay, so this is you have to keep in mind, because axis sometimes changes according to your image location. I will press R on my keyboard, make it smaller. Okay, and I don't want this to be here somewhere, so what I will do is that I will just make it smaller. Okay, press W on the keyboard, move it to this plane area. Okay, and then I will leave it over here. Instead of selecting the whole thing, I will select one by one. I will first do this. Select this one, shift greater than sign. It is selected. Okay. Notice that how the backside is selected. So I don't want the backside, so I will press Control and deselect the backside. Okay. Now I'm fine with this. I will go to Create, Planar. Now this is fine. Now what I will do, I will press R on my keyboard, and I will make this smaller. Okay, move it here somewhere on this top part, and let's see if it is working fine here. Okay, now the thing is, it is going in the top direction, which I don't want. So I will press E on my keyboard for the rotation and rotate it. Okay, and then press R on my keyboard and resize it in this way, a little bit more. Okay, so this is how I can do that. So you can see that it is quite now becoming a little bit better here. Okay, so more good result, you can do that if you want this to be separate. So I can select this, for example, go to I will select this one, create planar. Okay, now notice that how it changed. So I will undo it and go to create planar and choose Y. Then it is it's fine. Now I will press R on my keyboard. Okay, make it smaller, just like this. Okay, move it around with the W, put it where I want it, maybe somewhere here. Okay. Now one more thing here, which is very important. This part, okay, let's do one thing. Let me delete this part here. Okay, now select this one, delete this as well. The reason is that because I want to show you one thing here. This one as well. Okay, let me select this. Okay, and then I will go and create planar with the x-axis, project. Okay, and make it smaller, and then move it upwards here. Now the very important thing here is that suppose here is my top part. Now this top part, how I know what is the angle of this top part? So if I will go to my edges and select this edge, so whatever edge is selected on the screen, like suppose if I click over here, so this is this one actually. Now notice that this should be narrow, and this should be, if I click here, this should be wide. But this is other way around. That's why the texture over here is not right. So I have to maintain it in a way as it is on the object. So simple, I need to go here in the faces, select this, okay, rotate it. Now, because as objects are kind of slimmer, or so it's a little hard to rotate them, but I will keep it in this way. Okay, now I can simply make it smaller, okay, bigger, and then I will take this UV here. Okay, one more thing I can do here, I can select these two UVs. Okay, from here it's better, okay, so that everything seems fine, and I can scale it in X direction, so it will become straight here as well. Okay, this is what we did in the polygon modeling also. Now if I'll select these two, you can notice that here it is select, so that means this is what I'm looking for. So this part should be connected to this part. Now let's see what is here. If I select this part, and select this part, so that means we are doing correct. Okay, so I can select these two, press, move them, select this one, move, okay, and then I will select the whole face with the face option here and move it upwards. Now it's quite what I wanted, okay, which kind of looks good and perfect scene. Okay, same thing I will do with this one. I will go here, create planar, and see again the planar is not right, so create planar on y-axis, project. Now it is fine. So first of all, I need to see what part is where. So let me move it upward here and click here. Now if I select these two, so this means this part is here, which is wrong, and this is what I don't want. Okay, so if I select these two, okay, like from here, let me select these two here. So this is actually where this part is. Okay, so what I can do simply is that I have to take my whole face here. I will press R, make it a little bit squeezed like this. Okay, E, so I can rotate it. Okay, now I press W, so I can move it around here. Now let's see again. If I will take my UV here, this part and then this part, okay, they are connected. Okay, so I have to match them. Okay, so like suppose I will move this here, here, and then I will press the R key for the scaling, so that I want to make them straight. As well, these one I want to make them straight. Okay, and just move them here. Okay, and then move it this one here. Now I will not go more down. Now the thing is that they are perfect, they are fine, they are like, if I take my faces, they are good, but they are not as one object. So what you need to do is that simple, you will select your UVs here. Okay, first I will select this part from here. Okay, these UVs, which is from this object, and now press shift key and select these. Okay, So first let's do this one. Okay, now these are selected. Before doing that, let me do one thing here. Take this, move it away, then I will take these so that it won't overlap, otherwise it will intersect and it will create problem. Now I will select these UV and I will stitch them. To stitch them, I have to go to the cut and sew, and in the cut and sew I have stitched together here, and when I do that, it will become now a one part. So you can see that dark line, thick dark line is gone, and now it is a simple option here, okay, like a simple thin line. So I will take my face again, take this one, move it here. Exactly the same thing I will do with this. I will take this UV vertices and then select these, cut and sew, stitch, okay, and then it will be stitched together. Now you can see that I have applied all these planar maps, okay, on the screen. So I have also worked similarly like what I did on the right side to the left side, okay, and also I have worked on the back side. So let me close this one and this one and go back to object mode, and you can see that how they are nicely arranged, okay, without any kind of artifacts. Everything, as you can see here, it's very nicely seamed, okay. Everything is now perfectly fine and going in the right way. So this is how you do it. It takes little time, okay, but it requires more practice on it. So try to keep on practicing, okay, and see how many other complex objects you can apply like UV maps with. On my screen, like right now, you can see this pipe model, and on this pipe model you can see a rusted texture over here. Now the rusted texture, you will see that first of all it is not nicely seamed, the seams are broken, plus here it looks fine as a size, but on the other sides you can see that they are quite bigger and some parts they are quite smaller. So there are issues with the sizes and with the seams also, okay. How we can fix this? This is actually the issue related to the size. So we have to select this whole model that we have on our screen, can go to the UV and then UV editor. Now inside the UV editor you will notice that, let me move this here, okay, and then you can see that we have same material applied here in this UV map, and then you can see that we have seams over, like we have faces, all these UVs on our screen. Now how to fix that? To fix that right now, it will be a little hard because this texture is quite densely populated with the rust and details, so it will be hard for me to guess where it should be bigger and where it should be smaller, because all to me looks same. So what I can do here to solve this issue, there is an option here which is the checkerboard option. If you will click on this checkerboard, also you can see here, if you will click on this checkerboard, it will show you these like checkerboard on your screen, okay. Now our goal is each of these faces should have the same size of the checkerboard, okay. So how we do that? First of all, I will make sure my faces is selected here, so I can click on each of these faces, okay. So I can select this one, or it will be more easier if I will select from here. So if I will select the whole thing by making a marquee around it, so you can see it will be selected. Now for me, this one, I guess it's quite fine, it's quite good. Let's check this one, okay, this part. So if I click here, where is this? Here it is. This is the one. So if I will select this one, okay, so this is whole thing is selected. Now this does not look like a checkerboard, okay. The reason is that because the size is not correct. So I will press R to get the scaling tool. If I will start scaling it, so you can see it is becoming bigger and smaller. Okay. If I will decrease this, you can see that its width. So also I'm quite getting something here as a stretch material. So if I will do something like this and try to adjust it, so I can make a good texture the way I want it. Okay, so I have to make sure I am doing things in the right way. Okay, so it's quite fine. If I increase this, it looks fine. Okay, if I decrease from here, it's quite getting stretched out. So the best way for me to do will be, I will press the E key on the keyboard for the rotation, and I will rotate it. Okay, so if I will rotate and then try to scale it, and I will press R and try to check this. Okay, this is quite now getting better as it was before. Okay, so I can increase it more size here, more and more. You can see that it's kind of getting better and better. Now you can see that it is much more better. Okay, so now you can see that it went out of this area, but don't worry, because it usually repeats. Your seams repeat, so that's why you don't have to worry about that. But the main thing was that now my checker is good. Okay, now I can select the other part. Now where is this? I will look for this one. Here's this, and I will select this whole thing. Okay, and then I will try to make this smaller or bigger depending on what I want. So I will make it a little bigger. Okay, and if I'm making it bigger, you can see that how it's working on the screen here. And I just want to make sure it is the same size as this checkerboard. So I think now it's quite same. Okay, and then I can check this one. Here it is. Okay, so what I can do is that I can select the whole thing like this, or from here as well you can select that. Double click on it, it will be selected, and same thing, I will make it bigger as much I want to make sure the size is smaller. This one I will squeeze it. So you can see this is how I'm getting the result. So my goal is to make these seams bigger and smaller, so I will have a uniform checkerboard. Okay, now you can see that like the checkerboard is fine here. Okay, now I can go to this one. I will double click here, and then I can make it bigger. Okay, like wider, then taller, just like you can see how I'm making it like taller or wider, just so I can match these checkerboards. And make sure the checkerboards, like these checkers, are kind of squarish, in a square form, rather than being squeezed or like that. And then I can select this one, do the same thing here, make it wider. Okay, shorter, less wider, or more wider, just so it can be done. Okay, and then here, where's this one? Basically this one will be quite easy because it's like a plain surface, so quite easy. Plain surfaces are more easier. Okay, this one as well. Double click on it to select the whole thing. I will make it bigger so that matches. Okay, and then I will select this one, just here, make it bigger, where it matches. Bottom one, where it is on the screen, I think this is here. Double click here, so it will select it. I'll make it bigger, so it matches. Okay, so now I'm quite happy with this. It's overlapping others, but it's okay because seams are basically, you know, they are rusted, detailed texture. So it won't matter if these planars are overlapping each other. Okay, so I will go back to my image. Sorry, here, turn on the image here. Go back to object mode, and now you can see. It's close this. How better it looks like. Okay. Still there is a seam, it's not seamed, but as they are evenly distributed, the sizes are even, the seam doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't show too much. Okay, because the sizes which are the way we fix those like polygonal faces in the UVs, it has now made our like texture here very uniform. So this is how you fix them, and use always these checkerboards. Okay, we did it very quickly, but you need to spend some time on it so that it does not look like too bad. And this is how you fix them. Okay, making them smaller, bigger, wider, because you have noticed we stretched them out and they were looking very stretched out in the UV areas. Okay, but like suppose if I click here, you can see that most of them, they are stretched out. These are stretched out. Here they look stretched out, but in reality they will be fine. Your goal have to be bringing up these checkerboards uniformly on your object. And don't worry if it is going off this area, because usually textures repeats. Okay, if I go here in the image, okay, so this image is repeating over here. So even if these seams these faces goes out, these UVs goes out, you will still have these faces, these textures here repeated. Okay, so I hope you have understood about UVs, how to fix the UVs, how to apply UVs on complex objects, how to apply on separate faces, how to paint UV as a 3D paint tool, and how to fix them using the checkerboard. So keep practicing. Okay, and please subscribe to my channel, click on the bell icon, share it with your friends, and grow this community so everyone can benefit out of it. There are a lot of things will be coming up in future. Okay, so take care guys, and see you in the next lesson.